Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. So yeah, this is a part 2 of a Marvel Speed Paint that I am currently working on. Part 1 will be linked in the description down below, or you can just go to my channel under videos and find the most recent video of mine and click that one. While you're there, you should subscribe. Sorry, an actual popular YouTuber just got stuck in my throat there that knows what they're doing. Anyways, hi. Yes, Marvel Speed Paint. So today I'm going to be working on Thor and Spider-Man. I'm going to be adding one more part that will be the final part where I finish the Hulk and also just do some touch-ups. I want to practice shading a little bit, maybe clear some anatomy stuff up a bit that I'm not a huge fan of. I still think this is actually turning out well, especially compared to my last attempt at something like this, or a few years ago I went back and I did Marvel Speed Paint similar to this one, except instead of Thor it was Deadpool. Maybe I'll do a comparison in that final video as well if I have time. But for some reason on my channel I cannot post over 15-minute videos. Anytime I do, it says I'm not allowed to. I don't exactly know why, because it's not like I have any copy strikes or anything like that, so that's something I probably should look into. But for now, this video will probably be 14 minutes and 57 seconds if I remember that right. So that's also why at the very end, the actual final image goes by so fast, because again, I just can't post more than 15 minutes. I'm not sure why. Anyways, today, I'm actually going to be talking about something slightly more serious. I know, that's kind of a surprise, and it may be a little bit weird, because, you know, it's a Marvel Speed Paint, so maybe it's not the best platform, but, you know, it's something that I was kind of inspired to talk about after I saw the new Jaden Animations video about how she got hives, and it reminded me of the time I was in the worst physical pain of my life, freshman year. Now, this is a little bit different than another scenario where I'd say is the hardest time I've ever had physically in my life, which was a boot camp I did for hockey. But I actually think I'll save that story for another day, because as traumatizing, well, not actually, as hard as it was for me, it is actually kind of a funny story looking back. But this one is going to be a more serious story. Freshman year, well, the summer before freshman year, so between 8th grade and freshman year, I woke up one morning with absolutely horrific back pain, and I'm pretty, like, I have a high pain tolerance. I mean, like, I get hit in the head with hockey pucks a lot, which also explains a lot on the side, and I can shake those off quickly. I scraped my knee today, rollerblading, kept going. I sprained my arm, all of this kind of stuff. I actually have a pretty good pain tolerance, but this was different. This was to the point where I was crying, and I do not cry easily from pain. I could barely walk. I didn't want to go to school. It pretty much ruined my life, and it wasn't just like a one-day thing. This was a whole month. So it started in the summer before I went to high school, and then continued throughout high school for at least a month, maybe longer. And so, like I said, it was back pain, and this was terrible. It was sharpshooting pains down my entire back and legs, but not only that, it was also in my neck, and it also caused me to have migraines. And I know maybe I'm over-exaggerating, like, okay, Scott, sure, you had some back pain, you have a bad back, whatever. I knew there was a problem when I started hearing like a swishing or swooshing noise in my right ear. I developed tinnitus, and I could barely see out of my right eye. There was something wrong with me. So, of course, after having to walk around at some points with a cane at home and being in so much pain I would literally burst out into tears in the middle of the night, I decided to go to a chiropractor. And so I did the usual thing. You go up there, you go on the scale they check your balance and stuff, and the guy who happened to to be my uncle, just kind of laughed and said, "Yeah, you have scoliosis, and it's pretty bad." I'm like, "Okay, great." And he said, "Don't worry, I'll be able to crack it for you, and then you'll be back to shape. You might have to come in a couple times, but it shouldn't be that big of a problem." I'm like, "Thank God," because, again, I can manage pain. This was something else. So he had me sit down and lay down, and he cracked my back, and oh my God, it's the most satisfying noise in the world. I love cracking my bones. It's a problem. Well, body, not bones. It grosses everyone out, but God, it feels so good. Anyways, besides that, I probably grossed some of you out with that one. So he did it, and as soon as I got into the car, the pain was just so much worse. My neck, it felt like someone was repeatedly, like, stabbing it over and over again. Not that I've been stabbed before, but it was intense. I bursted into tears. I just could not handle it whatsoever. So eventually, we kept going to different doctors, and all of them just kept giving me the same response, like, "Okay, you have scoliosis," or, "Yeah, you're slightly above weight, that might be putting some excess pressure on your spinal cord," all of this stuff. And I'm like, no, there's gotta be more. I've had scoliosis my entire life, and I know what it feels like. I know what back pain feels like. This was something different. But there was a weird catch to all of this. So, as you guys know, I play hockey, and during this time I was also playing field hockey for my school, and then I was playing hockey for two teams outside of school, a 3-on-3 league, and then my normal AAA team. When I was on the ice, or in net for field hockey, all the pain went away, for the most part. Sometimes if I turned my head, I could feel it a little. But all my back pain went away. I could see, I could hear clearly. So this is why I knew there was something weird going on. There's no way that I could literally step onto a sheet of ice and all my pain would go away no matter what. And it was instant, too. As soon as I stepped 1 foot onto the ice, everything went away. As soon as I took a foot off the ice, it all came back like a storm. I've never experienced something like that in my life. My parents were, like, going to pull me out of hockey and saying, like, you can't do sports, but I was telling them, like, it does not hurt at all. So I thought maybe it was a movement thing, like if I'm constantly moving around and stuff, maybe that would actually help. So I tried to work out a little bit in my room, or like walk around campus at my high school, and that did not help. Like, nothing helped unless I was playing a sport, and that was really weird to me. So finally, again, we went into the doctors, and they pretty much at this point suggested a spinal tap, and I don't really know what a spinal tap is, but what my friend told me is that it hurts. They're pretty much taking fluids out of your spine to try to readjust your positioning, and I was not happy about that. I did not want to do that. Even though it might relieve pain, I heard it was very painful to do, so I was not happy about this whatsoever. But they scheduled it for a couple weeks later, but then I also started going to therapy at that time. I know that's a little personal, but whatever. Everyone in Generation Z has a therapist at this point. Doesn't really matter. I have some anxiety issues, or I had some, especially back then, and at this time, this is all connected, but at this time, I also moved houses. I've moved a lot over my life. I think I've gone to 6 or 7 different schools, maybe a little less. I can't count, just in general, but I moved houses. I was going to a high school that was really well known for its academics and hockey. I didn't really know anyone there, and I was very nervous. Everyone was telling me how hard the school was, how like you might fail out, how like good these kids are at everything, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm like one of these kids. I don't feel like I'm going to fit in. Academically, I'm average. Like, nothing wrong with being average, it just wasn't my strong suit. So I didn't know what to expect. And with that, I was also dealing with some anxiety due to mental health issues that happened in 8th grade. But So at the same time, I started seeing a therapist, and at that point, I was just pretty much in her office, curled up, not being able to speak because I was in so much pain. I mean, I bursted out crying in school several times because of how much pain I was in. People probably thought I was pretty weird, but like at that point, I didn't even care. I was just like, whatever can make this pain stop. So I started talking to my therapist about all this. I'm like, listen, I want to work on myself. I want to work on my anxiety, but I just can't right now. Like, I literally am sitting here in so much pain. I can't see out of my right eye. I can barely hear what you're saying. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, this is useless. I will go, like, through a fit about it. She sat me down and pretty much said, well, you said that it goes away when you're playing hockey, right? I'm like, yeah, that's what's so weird about it. That's what I don't understand. And she's like, have you ever thought that maybe it was anxiety related? And I just looked at her and I'm like, listen, I've been struggling with anxiety since 3rd grade. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I thought she was crazy. I'm like, there is no way that anxiety can cause this much pain. By me bringing this up, I'm guessing you guys know where this story is going. After a couple weeks, before the spinal tap, as I got comfortable in school and as my grades were improving and I felt more comfortable playing hockey on the school's team and whatnot, it started to fade away. And it was noticeable. It wasn't super fast, but I did notice that it did have to do when I was more nervous or more anxious. It came back and it came back strong. But when I was more calm or more in a situation where I was comfortable with, it just went away completely, which makes sense why I was okay when I was playing hockey. It wasn't stressful for me. I mean, it was, but not in the same way as like school or social situations or making friends or all of that stuff. So it ended up most likely, and almost 100% for sure, actually being anxiety that entire time. So to go back, my anxiety got so bad freshman year, it caused me to lose hearing, lose part of my eyesight, and be so painful I couldn't walk. And so the reason why you might be questioning why I'm telling you guys this is because I am always been an advocate for mental health, don't get me wrong, but I never realized how much it can actually affect you physically until that moment. Mentally, I knew all that stuff, but mental health is not a joke. Like, it can really mess you up if not taken. It's kind of like if you break your leg and you keep walking on it and don't get help for it, like, that's not going to solve any issues. That's just going to make it worse. And by me not getting the proper help for that anxiety, my back pain just got worse. I was seeing floaties in my eyes, all of this stuff. So to make a long story short, if you're dealing with mental health stuff and if you're in physical pain, don't feel weak or anything like that. It's very possible there's something going on, like, wrong physically. I'm not going to say like that's not true. It's obviously not always mental health or anxiety, but anxiety can be very serious, and all mental health in general. So don't forget to sometimes take a step back and try to figure out if the reason behind a physical pain you're feeling, and if it's kind of like me where it's stress induced, that's okay. You're not weak or a bad person or any of this stuff that your mind is convincing you for feeling pain because of anxiety or depression or any other mental health or just stress in general. I mean, stress headaches are a thing. Mine just happened to spread to my whole entire body. But like I said, don't feel weak because you're in pain. Like, don't be one of those people who are like, it's okay, I can shake it off. Or especially if you're a guy, like, no, I'm a guy, I can just tough this out. I don't need to see someone. it's okay to get help. In fact, I think it's actually pretty damn strong. You're pretty damn strong if you're willing to get help, because that's hard to do. Getting help is not a bad thing. Oh, hey, look, it's done. Okay, see you guys next time.